Hey guys, so I just had the American Open finals this last weekend, and if you don't know what happened, you should know what happened. This happened.
Get up! Get up! Get set! You can do it! Hold it! Hold it! Hold it!
My training for the past 2 weeks is on my YouTube channel, so you can actually watch my last 2 weeks of full training in the last, I think, 3 videos I uploaded to my YouTube channel, so check those out. That's a good way to indicate what I did. All of my training is below the videos, listed out what numbers I did, the percentages I did, the amount of reps, sets, and exercises that I did. So it's not all perfectly written out, but most of the bigger exercises are there. I got a latte. I'm really pumped about this because I never get to have these guys. All right, so the first things first, training. What did we change with training? We did a lot of volume with training, and we trained through to the American Open. So from Worlds, I took maybe a week off and just let my body recuperate, and then the following week we got right into it. One of the biggest things I changed with my technique was my positioning. My position at the bottom of the clean, my position at the bottom of the snatch. I was actually catching everything full. Normally I catch things like in the power position, a little slightly lower, but I wasn't catching them fully down at the bottom. So we changed that and made sure I was making sure everything was caught in the bottom of the hole, the bottom of the clean, and the bottom of the snatch. That helped immensely. I can't tell you how much that helped. It's crazy. That is why I made that 105 kilo clean and jerk. And another reason I made that 105 kilo clean and jerk was because I've been working with a PT every frickin' week. So working with that PT, he fixed my hip position. Basically, I stand very hyperextended. My butt sticks out, my back is very arched. So we fixed that and made it become more neutral, trying to get that pelvis to be more neutral at the bottom of the reps, which is another reason why I was able to stand the 105 up. So instead of standing very hyperextended, I standed more neutral. So my front abs were more engaged this time. So that helped a lot. One other thing I have been working on before Worlds was getting my glutes to fire, using them, using my booty, my booty, my booty. I have added so much extra accessory work in. I now warm up like 45 minutes before I lift. It's actually some days 20 to 45 minutes. It just depends on how hard my day is of training. So I do all these glute warm-up exercises before I touch bar. I never used to do that. I literally would just warm up for like 5 minutes, start touching bar, and go. And now I'm like super into warming up and making sure that everything is working properly before I touch the bar. So glutes and bodybuilding movements and accessory, seeing a PT and high volume training, and making sure I'm catching my cleans and snatches at the bottom. Those are some of the things that I changed a little before Worlds until now. So not all of this was just like all this happened in a month. Obviously this all happens over years of learning, but hey, what can I say? I was really proud of this performance, so I'm trying to figure out what works the best. Weight cut. Everybody wants to hear about the weight cut. It sucked. That's all I got to say. It really sucked this time. You guys aren't gonna believe this. I literally started my weight cut at 53.6 kilos. Yes, you heard it right. 53.6 kilos. That almost destroyed me when I got on that scale, because I usually don't step on the scale for a month after I compete and weigh myself, and I stepped on the scale, saw 53.6, and about had a heart attack. So after that, what I did was like, oh my gosh, Max, I am really heavy right now. I didn't tell him because I was so afraid to tell him that I was so heavy, because I was crushing weights in competition. I mean, competition. I was crushing weights in practice. That I was like, if he knows that I'm 53.6, these weights that I'm crushing won't even matter. So I tried to hide it from him as usual. I try to hide sometimes when I'm a little heavier, just because I don't want him to think that I'm crushing these heavy weights, but I'm not really that light. So, but this was an advantage for me. I gained a lot of muscle. That's what it was. I eat really well. So it didn't come from a lot having like extra fat on my body. It was all extra muscle from all the volume we've been doing for the past month after Worlds. This was probably the hardest month of training I have ever had. So I was really impressed that this weekend went so good, because we trained right through it. We did not take a deload week. We did not try to have me rest. The only day off I had this week was the day before I lifted. So I literally trained Monday really hard, Tuesday probably medium, Wednesday light, and then Thursday off, Friday compete. It was just, it's unreal how well this weekend went for how hard I trained through it. So yeah, so the weight, I was pretty darn heavy. So what we did was I just started eating like even cleaner. I had to get rid of some carbs. I had to cut back on some carbs, and then my weight dropped to like 52.8, I think. Like that, let's say I weighed Monday 53.6, then my weight finally dropped 4 days later to 52.8, and then 3 days later my weight dropped to like 52 kilos, and then it wouldn't budge. Like, it just would not budge. It kept going up. It would go to 52.5, 52, 52.5, 52, 52.5. It's like freaking me out, because I was like, okay, I have a week and I weigh 52.5 kilos, and I lift on Friday. I literally weighed 52.5 on Monday, weighed in at 49 on Friday. I woke up Friday at 50.7. I have to be 49 kilos to lift. I was panicking. That was way too heavy, but I was like, whatever, I can do this. I've done this before. Not really, not this heavy, but I can do it. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, right? Holy frick, it was hard. It was the worst weight cut of my life. I almost stopped, but like my boyfriend said, he's like, you don't know how to give up. That's why you didn't stop. He's like, you don't know how to give up. You want to get there, so you will get there no matter what you have to do. And he's absolutely right. I will do anything, any measure I have to do to make weight to get on that stage and compete. So here's how it kind of went. So I woke up 50.7, and I wasn't losing a lot of weight. So by just spitting, so I had to sauna. Spitting, I use Mentos. They make you salivate a lot, so it makes you lose a lot of water weight. So a lot of spitting is done over the course of the hours until final weigh-in. And I finally got to the sauna at 11 a.m. I started losing maybe 0.2 to 0.3 every 40 minutes. Not a lot of weight. So I started kind of panicking, because it was about, my final weigh-ins were 1:30. And I was an hour out, I was 49.7. And then people are in that sauna and they're over 0.5 a day before they even lift, and they're panicking. I'm like, people, do you even know what I'm going through? It's fine, because they don't. But it was really funny. So I was 49.7 an hour out, and I was starting to panic, and I think I looked at Max and I was like, I don't know if we're gonna make it, honestly. I was like, my body's not losing weight. I think it's rejecting everything we're doing, because I just cut weight for Worlds. So I'm kind of panicking, and I didn't say that much to him, because at that point I'm like dead. I'm walking around in my underwear with a soaking wet shirt on. I'm soaked. I look like I am a walking zombie, practically dying, but I was okay, because I do this to myself and I'm fine. So obviously don't feel sorry for me. You should never feel sorry for me. I totally do this to myself. So I went back into the sauna and continued sweating, and I came out and Max was like, I got on the scale and I was like, I don't know, it was like a half hour out and I was 0.5 over, and I was like, I guess, and Max looked at me and he was like, okay. Max looked at me, he was like, I think, you know, I think if in the next 15 minutes, if your weight doesn't come down, I think we just call it. And I was like, call it? Call what? Like go home? And he's like, yeah, I think we should just not, you know, not lift. And I was like, we're not lifting. I was like, we're lifting. I was like, I came here to lift, we're lifting. So I was kind of like went from one end not wanting to lift, and then 10 minutes later I was like, we're lifting. So after Max said that to me, I was kind of like, I got into the mode of the Alyssa switch crazy mode, and I finally said, all right, we've come this far. We have 0.4 kilos to go. We have 20 minutes, or I think it was 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. And I was like, we can do this. We did this before. We can do it again. You've come this far. You're not giving up. So I did. And I got the weight off. I missed my final weigh-ins, so I had to go back to the sauna. Because I had to go back to the sauna, I was 0.07 or 9 over. And I had to go back to the sauna it off. I went back downstairs. I weighed in probably like 30 minutes after my weigh-in, and I made it 48.99. Another perfect weigh-in. Another very hard, brutal weigh-in. And as I was going down, there was these girls in the elevator talking about how they can't eat a sandwich because they're 0.6 over and their weigh-ins are in the morning, so they don't want to eat a sandwich and they might not get to eat today. So I was like, okay, calm down. You're almost there. So that was in the weigh-in down to final, or that was in the elevator down to final weigh-ins. That was pretty hysterical. I don't really ever get food during the day of weigh-ins because I'm too heavy, and usually basically the weight that I'm losing the final weigh-in day is all water. I try to keep as much muscle on as possible, and it looks like we did the perfect weight cut this time. And let me tell you what, I was a warrior, because I don't know. If you would have saw me back there and then saw me on stage, you see two different people. If you saw me back in the weight cut area and you were standing in line waiting for that scale to check your weight, or anybody who ever saw me, you know that like what I was going through was torturous, and how I performed on stage was just a whole nother Alyssa. And I can't describe how well that weight cut went and how hard that weight cut was, and how I did not think I was gonna get through it, but I did. And every time I get through it, I'm probably more proud of myself than anything else, because it's like one of the hardest things I've ever done is cutting weight. And if you guys don't see that part where it's really, really hard to cut weight, and then you have to go on stage and perform, and you have to hit these big PRs, and it's like you go into practice some days tired and you think it's hard to train, try a weight cut, and then going on stage and hitting PRs, it's like 100 times harder. Before going into the competition, Max and me talked about a plan of what numbers I'm gonna hit. We decided 80, 82, 83, 85 would be the plan. I went for my 80 opener and got it on the first try. I ended up missing 78 in the back once. I think Max panicked kind of a little bit. I did not. I knew that I had just rushed it. I was a little nervous, and it was good to get the first miss out of the way. That way I could go on stage and just absolutely crush it. So then I went in, entered the stage to hit 82 kilo snatch, and I missed it. I missed it very, very, very behind me. I caught it, and it was like my wrist went back and my elbows went back with it, and I basically hyperextended my elbows. So I pulled both of these little like pronator muscles. So, hi Kenny, go away. So it hurt really bad. And Max could tell immediately something was wrong because I was like, ow, that hurt. I have pulled them before. I've pulled both of them, one in grid and one in CrossFit workout. And so they both have been injured previously. Anyways, I exited the stage, something was wrong. Max started kind of panicking, like, we don't have to take your third snatch if we don't want to. This is not worth an injury. And I said, no, give me time. Can you give me more time? And he's like, yeah, I'll give you more time. I'll, you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what he does at the coaches at the coaches table. So he gave me more time. They started to calm down, but I went out there and attempted 82 again and kind of panicked because I didn't want to hurt my elbows. So I didn't even, I mean, it went kind of up in front of me, but I missed it in front. So anyways, that's how the snatch went. Opening with 80 though, for me, is huge because normally I either take it my second attempt or my third attempt. And this time we took it my first attempt and I made it. And it was very, very, very good. And it's a big confidence booster for me. So I was overall very satisfied with the snatch. 82's there. I just have to know that it's there and not be surprised when I catch it and I lose it behind me. So after the snatch, I immediately rushed over to the doctor's stand and I took 4 ibuprofen and a Tylenol and basically started preparing for the clean and jerk. And Max said, do you think we should do the clean and jerk? Are your elbows okay? Is everything going to be okay? And I said, I'm fine. I'll be okay. Let's just let me warm up. And if I can't do this, then we need to stop. But right away, warming up 45, I was fine. 45 kilos, I was fine. So I knew right away that I was gonna be okay. I actually, probably all the adrenaline masked all the pain, but the pain went away as soon as I took the Tylenol as well. So it was really good from there. One thing I did tell myself in the warm-up is normally my cleans, I struggle with in the warm-up. I look really sharp for snatches in the warm-up, but sometimes on stage I can look like, yikes, a mess. And then for clean and jerk, it's opposite. I look amazing on the stage, but I look horrible in warm-ups. I look slow, I double bounce out of lifts, I just look awful. So this time I told myself before even starting the warm-up, I said, don't make excuses. Every single warm-up is gonna be sharp. You're gonna make them all easily, and you're gonna feel strong during every single lift. And that is what I said going into the cleans. So I just kept telling myself this after every single rep. So when I got up to like 90, which is the ones I start struggling with, when I got to 90 and 95 kilos, I said the same thing. I was like, you're gonna be strong, you're gonna catch this strong, and you're gonna come right out of the hole and make this clean, and everything's gonna be great. So I made all the warm-ups look flawless, beautiful for the cleans, and everything felt great. Max kept making huge eyes at me because he knew like I looked really strong and I looked really, just really strong. So he's really, really happy overall. Then we decided for the clean, we decided 99, 102, 103, 105, 106. So we went with 99, crushed it on stage, 103, demolished it, which Max basically said, as long as you make 103, we can just, we're good, we're great. We don't need much more because that would get me a 183 total, which is phenomenal for a 49. And he looked at me off stage when I came off of making 103 super easy and super flawless. He was really excited and he looked at me to call the number and I said 105. I said, put it on the bar. You can take risks, but we didn't want to be unrealistic. And 107 would be a little unrealistic for right now. It might have been fine if we would have hit 104 to 107, but I think all in all, we took really smart numbers and 105 was a great jump and we did not need to go any heavier because it would have, I might not have hit it and then, you know, not been able to get that confidence under a number that I didn't know was possible until this weekend, 105. I did not think I would be hitting that until probably 2019, like mid-year. And to hit that hit that Friday was just like mind-blowing. So that's why I didn't go 106, 107, just in case you're wondering. I know everybody thinks I should have, but I don't think I should have. I think it was a very smart move to go 105, and we still took a huge risk even going 105, but a smart risk. When I walked onto the stage for 105, I actually forgot that I hit 103 so solidly and so beautifully. My mind automatically was ready to hit 105 because I knew that I was ready for it, and I knew he had come here to take a huge risk. So I was already in the mindset and ready to crush some big kilos. So I walked on the stage for the 105, and immediately I thought, well, I'm making this lift because I'm not going home without it. And so that was my thought walking on stage. And another thought was, it's gonna be heavy, so just push through no matter what. I stepped and approached the bar, and I looked at the wall in front of me, and I thought to myself, there comes a point in time in your career that you have to make a big change, and this is the change you've been wanting to make. This is the risk you've been wanting to take, so you have to make this lift no matter what. As I grabbed the bar, I made sure that I was set properly. I felt the weight in my feet evenly. I make sure that my feet feel like they're like really connected with the floor, so I can just push through my whole foot. As the bar was starting to come up and then it came down on my chest, it felt really, really, really light off the floor. So I was really pumped and really excited because I was like, oh my gosh, this feels so light. And I caught the bar and it smashed me in the clean in the hole. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like something weird came over me, because normally if that happens to me, especially in that heavy of a lift with that much weight on the bar and after a brutal weight cut and with all the elements against me, I just give up. I just stop. But this time I wasn't giving up. I pushed my knees so hard forward and I pushed through the ground and I started standing it up, and I'm gonna cry because it's such a cool breakthrough for me to hit this number in my career. And I feel like when I was standing midway up through my lift, my elbows started dropping, and that's another point where the bar always freaking wins, and it just pisses me off when I leave competition because I'm like, I know I could have got that. And that's the feeling I did not want to walk away with. I didn't want to walk away with a feeling of regret, with the point of like, again, I missed the number that I came here to hit, and I did not want to walk away with that feeling. And that's what I thought in that moment, where my back kind of curled in and my elbows dropped midway through the lift, and I just pushed as hard as I could because I was like, no, this isn't freaking happening again. And I stood up, and you could see in my face the determination and the want, the passion and the drive for this lift. It was just like everything I had, every moment, every sweat, every tear, every hard rep, every PR for my coach, for myself, for every day of practicing alone, for all the times that I have to weight cut, for everything I do. It was for that moment, that one moment that like, it brought everything together and made it like a realization that like, you are capable of these weights. You are so much more capable than you believe. You've got to believe more. And that's when I stood the weight up, and I was like, well, I just made this lift. I didn't even have to like jerk the bar, because I knew once I stood that weight up in the clean, I was like, it's over, because my jerk is unrealistically heavy. It's 120. I just hit like the week before I competed. So I jerked the bar at 105, and I stepped my front leg back and my back leg forward, and I couldn't believe that I did it. So cool. Oh, it's so cool. Just thinking about it is like one of the coolest accomplishments. I know I'm such a baby, but I work every freaking day for this, every day, and this is my dream. And I'm unapologetically like so passionate about what I do that every step, every day consumes me to make everything perfect for those moments on stage. And that moment on stage is the most perfect I've ever felt. So yeah, what a great weekend. I'm really excited about 2019 because 2018 ended with the bang of a lifetime.